Hey guys, Sean here, and welcome to the F1 Word. Now, back in 1991, Eddie Jordan entered his own team into Formula One, Jordan Grand Prix, following success in junior categories, including taking Jean Alesi to the International Formula 3000 Championship in 1989, the team at the time known as Eddie Jordan Racing. The team became known as the plucky underdog and over the years managed to take the fight to the top teams and even brought through a number of young drivers into the sport too, including the likes of Ralf Schumacher, Rubens Barrichello, Eddie Irvine, and of course one Michael Schumacher. The team took its first win at the chaotic Belgian Grand Prix in 1998 and took two more in 99 courtesy of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who actually managed to keep himself right in the hunt for the Drivers' Championship title until the penultimate round of the season. Giancarlo Fisichella would go on to take the team's final ever win, albeit belatedly thanks to a mix-up by the stewards, at the 2003 Brazilian Grand Prix. In 2005, though, Eddie Jordan sold the team to the Midland Group, which retained the Jordan name for that season, before becoming Midland MF1 Racing for 2006, and sadly it was the end of Jordan Grand Prix. But although known for racing and bringing through young talent both on and off the track, Eddie Jordan was also known for making some pretty big predictions which on occasion happened to come true. So today I thought we'd take a look at just 4 times Jordan's wild and wacky F1 predictions actually came true. So first up, halfway through the 2013 season, Jordan made the claim that 2007 F1 World Champion Kimi Raikkonen was set to leave Lotus and return to Ferrari for 2014, something that seemed highly unlikely at the time, given how just a few years prior to that, the Scuderia had paid off Raikkonen to vacate his seat for 2010 in favour of Fernando Alonso. Perhaps as you'd expect, Ferrari initially denied the claim, but Jordan stuck to his word and predicted the move would be announced around the 2013 Italian Grand Prix weekend. Raikkonen had made Red Bull his first priority, but when talks with the world champions broke down, he turned his attention to Ferrari, Jordan claimed. And at the same time, Jordan also predicted that Daniel Ricciardo would move up to Red Bull from Toro Rosso to join Sebastian Vettel. As we now know, these predictions were correct, but Eddie was a few days out, with the Scuderia actually announcing Raikkonen 5 days after the Italian Grand Prix, while Ricciardo was announced at Red Bull at the start of the Monza race week, so slightly off but still correct in the end. Next up, and with McLaren struggling with Honda to find any real consistent form following the reunion of the two parties' successful partnership from the 1980s for 2015, Jordan predicted the two sides would split for 2018. Eddie claimed that McLaren would revert back to Mercedes power for that season, but that was denied by the then McLaren racing director Eric Boullier, who said he was very confident Eddie Jordan was wrong. That was backed up by Toto Wolff, who replied directly to Jordan on air saying, "McLaren don't need our engine. They have a Honda relationship that is going through a difficult phase at the moment, but McLaren and Honda have the resources to drag themselves out of the difficult situation." Now, Jordan was only half right on this one, as McLaren did in fact split with Honda, but they actually chose to switch to Renault power for 2018. However, a few years later, the Woking team did sign up to take Mercedes power units, so half right initially, but he got there in the end. Maybe Eddie's crystal ball was a little bit foggy that day. So Eddie Jordan was right about Raikkonen returning to Ferrari, eventually got there with McLaren's reunion with Mercedes, but his most famous prediction came in 2012. Yes, it's that one. In early September of 2012, Jordan said, "Hamilton and Mercedes have already agreed personal terms and a deal could be imminent." A statement that made just about every single person sit up and take notice, although many were very cynical of the claim at the time. I mean, after all, Hamilton had been embedded at McLaren ever since arriving in Formula One, and indeed had been brought up through the ranks by the team. They were also still seen as a sure bet in terms of competitiveness, so the idea at the time of the two going their separate ways was almost unbelievable, especially when you consider Mercedes' chances of being competitive at the front consistently were questionable, and few could have predicted the dominance they'd enjoy just 2 years later. In fact, Eddie's prediction was greeted with shock and dismissed as being the ramblings of a man whose connection to the F1 paddock had dwindled in the years since selling his team. This wasn't helped by Hamilton's management team dismissing these suggestions, saying, "As mentioned in the past by all parties, we are in advanced discussions with McLaren about a new deal." Interestingly, Damon Hill was one of the few people not to diminish Jordan's claim and said that funnier things have happened in F1 before and there is a high chance the move could come to pass. As we now know, Jordan's prediction turned out to be absolutely bang on the money less than a month later, as it was announced that Hamilton has signed a 3-year deal with Mercedes. The rest, as they say, is history. And from that moment on, Jordan was taken far more seriously when it came to making predictions, for the most part. The final prediction on this list came in 2013. Now, considering the nature of Fernando Alonso's fallout with McLaren after 2007, even the notion of a return to the Woking team seemed even more far-fetched than Raikkonen's return to Ferrari. However, in September 2013, Eddie Jordan claimed that Alonso and Ferrari would part ways, with the Spaniard rejoining McLaren for 2015. Surely not. Well, following a really tough year at the wheel of his Ferrari, the Spaniard picking up no wins, just 2 podiums and finished the season in 6th place in the championship standings, we witnessed the most unlikely of reunions coming true as Alonso made the move to drive for McLaren once again. And yes, Eddie Jordan was right once again. There was just something about Eddie and a good September prediction. We are going to miss those for sure. Now, whilst that may all seem quite impressive, Eddie Jordan didn't always get it right, and he made some pretty shockingly bad predictions as well. I know the feeling. In 2017, Jordan earned the disapproval of Mercedes' Toto Wolff after claiming the manufacturer would pull the plug on the team at the end of the 2018 season. Toto Wolff replied to Eddie's prediction that the team would be sold and Mercedes would only remain in the sport as an engine supplier, saying, "I told him I'm ready for any banter, but for me, I stop laughing when it's about making jokes on the back of 1,500 employees who care about their future." Before he went on to add, "We are not leaving F1, none of our sponsors are leaving F1, we are pretty happy where we are," and branded Jordan's claims fake news. There was also the occasion when Jordan predicted VW was set to take over the Red Bull team, which he claimed during 2015. Red Bull were actively looking for a new engine supplier, and Jordan reckoned VW was about to take over the entire team. And with Eddie stock riding high as a canny observer, it appeared credible, but VW opted to cut back their motorsport participation significantly following the emissions scandal the manufacturer found itself in. It led Red Bull boss Christian Horner to joke that Eddie Jordan, quote, "sometimes gets it wrong too." Another swing and a miss was the time Jordan scoffed at the idea of Kimi Raikkonen joining Ferrari the first time around. Jordan, clearly lacking the sources he would have some 7 years later when he correctly predicted Raikkonen's return, said in late 2005 any chance of Raikkonen joining Ferrari was wide of the mark. As it turned out, not too much later, Montoya had quit McLaren and F1 altogether, and Raikkonen joined Ferrari as Michael Schumacher's replacement from the start of the 2007 season. More recently, Jordan's most outlandish claim was that for 2020 Hamilton would join Ferrari, as if, while Vettel would move to Mercedes in a direct swap between the drivers. He also said he believed Max Verstappen would be Vettel's teammate at Mercedes. Of course, this group of claims were all proven very incorrect, although Hamilton did eventually announce he was moving to Ferrari for the 2025 season in the winter of 24. Eddie just the 4 years out on that one, and the Verstappen to Mercedes rumours are still swirling now, so who knows? Predictions are all good fun, and the thing is though, whilst he may not have always been right on the money with his calls, he did get some of the big ones right, and although perhaps frustrating for some team bosses, his willingness to have made the bold claims in the first place should be applauded and not dismissed, and I'm going to leave it with this. When asked about the situation regarding Mercedes pulling out of F1 which earned him the pushback I mentioned earlier from Toto Wolff, Jordan said the following: "I can understand why Wolff is angry with that, but that's not my concern, that's life. There are too many people too worried about whether they can go into someone's motorhome or not. I'm in the job of reporting what I know. That is what I'll do, and no one is going to shut me up." Oh, Eddie, we are going to miss you. That is it for this one then, but let me know down in the comments section which one of Eddie Jordan's predictions was your favourite, and can you think of any more wacky predictions he made, whether or not they came true? And for the latest news, as well as more analysis and deep dives from the world of Formula One, head on over to planetf1.com. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.